Hey there, AfterBuzzers. You're watching the AfterBuzz TV After Show for Secrets and Lies, Season 2, Episode 7, The Statement. Join us tonight as we break down this week's episode and give you our thoughts and predictions. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yeah. Bringing it in with a little Riri. Like $12 million money.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
Of dough.
We're going to be talking about that money and where it all went tonight on our Secrets and Lies After Show. We're talking Episode 7, The Statement. And guys, I am your host, Lauren Salaun. You can find me everywhere online, especially Instagram at Lauren Salaun. And I'm joined by April and Whit. How you ladies doing tonight?
Good. Happy to be here.
Awesome.
Not going to be able to get this song out of my head.
I know. I just want to rock the whole time. Where can everyone find you guys online?
Hey, y'all, you can find me everywhere at April Whisenhant.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at WhitGetItWhit or Instagram, Snapchat at JustGetItWhit.
Awesome. All right. Yeah. See, I just want to have a dance party now.
Now it's just like it bumped up my mood too.
Yeah. Great songs.
Yeah.
Whitney was the one who recommended this song. So really great job there.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Guys, if you are watching us live, we have the live chat up, but our connection is sometimes a little iffy. But if you're in there, talk to us. We want to hear your guys' thoughts about this week's episode, like live with us, and we'll be chatting back with ya. And be sure that you're also subscribed to us on YouTube, youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV, and go check us out on iTunes as well. And if you are in Fantasy Stats Guru says in the chat, that's a lot of dodo. It is.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
I want $12 million.
I know, right?
God.
That'd
be
cool.
amazing.
So much to ask for.
Right? Not really.
Not at all.
And you guys, you can also catch all of our weekly after shows, including this one and every single other one that we do and everyone else here at AfterBuzz does on iTunes. And when you're in there in iTunes, leave us a review. Okay? Cool. Thanks, guys. Alrighty. So we have been left off with, dealing with the Patrick situation, not knowing really what the deal is with that. We've got some Neal drama, Amanda separated, like all sorts of stuff is hitting the fan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this episode kind of starts off, Misha appreciated the Rihanna as well.
Yes.
Great.
Thanks,
Awesome,
Misha.
guys. So Dad comes back into the picture.
Yes.
And he kind of Eric confronts him about all sorts of stuff. And with, Dad coming back, we learned that their mom was an abusive drunk. Mm-hmm. And, they were all scared of her, all this stuff. And, that was something that we all kind of felt like maybe was going on.
Yeah. Well, because they've kind of touched on it before a little bit, or they've touched on the alcohol and everything, of course, before. But the thing out of this scene, and I'm sure you both noticed it too, that stuck out to me is when Eric was yelling at his dad and saying, "You don't know what it was like. She was an abusive drunk and she was crazy." And his dad goes, "But she's not here anymore, is she?" Like, he didn't say it almost, he said it like with that look, like, "But she's not here anymore," almost like placing a little blame on him.
Right.
And we guessed, what if like Eric had one of those moments where he just went nuts? His mom like fell down the stairs.
Yeah.
What if he did push her down the stairs? He definitely had that tone in his voice.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Did y'all see that? Or
Yes,
was that just me?
I did.
Okay, good.
No, but now that you bring it up and I think back, like I can totally see, I don't know why my mind didn't go there, but now I see it.
I didn't necessarily jump to that, but I did notice him saying that and pay attention to it. Like, okay, well, is it dismissive of, he's just trying to end the conversation, or maybe what if there was more there? Because we did think that possibly.
Sometimes people say things like that in a sense of like, they're not here, so let's not talk about them anymore, or they're not here to defend themselves. But that's, if you are thinking that, or if you're meaning that, then that's what you say. You don't say like, "But she's not here anymore, is she?" You say like, "Well, she's not here to talk or to defend herself," or "That's in the past."
Yeah.
So that's what you say. So I don't know. There was just something about it.
Yes, something a little curious about that. And then we kind of next move on to Melanie getting questioned by Cornell's boss.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she is just so she was super trashy in this episode.
Is.
Every single word she said to him was like
So sexualized.
well done. I'm like, do you not see yourself like literally moving like that? Like if I'm talking to somebody, I'm gonna be like, yes, but she's like, oh, what? My dress?
I know.
Yeah.
And
good thing I'm not wearing those clothes that you need right now. Otherwise, I'd have to take them off right here.
I know.
And
That
be
was
in my
so-
underwear.
yeah.
It's like
that whole scene to me was kind of corny because I mean, I know there's probably people like that in real life.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are. But it just made me be like, if I ever met somebody like you, I would not like you from the get-go.
Yeah.
Like people that act like that, I was just like,
it's
stop
just
doing that.
I get, okay, not that I'm not saying I would ever do it, or I'm not condoning it, but like I get the thought of like, okay, I could potentially be in some trouble here. Let me use what I think my tools are. And she thinks her biggest tool is her, sexuality and her looks, which, I mean, she's a sexy, beautiful woman, but it was just so over the top to where it's like,
and they saw right through it, Cornell
Yeah.
and her partner are like, oh gosh, and like major eye roll going on.
Yeah.
And they back her into a corner a little bit with saying, she says that she didn't delete the footage. We know she did. And then later in the episode, she even says that to Eric that she did. So there's no question there about it. And, she's saying that she came out of the bathroom and all this stuff. They pin her in a corner with saying her fingerprints were on the keyboard and all that. And it didn't really, I didn't feel like that interrogation really got a whole lot.
well, she completely handled it like she needed
Yeah,
to.
she handled it great.
Obviously, that was a lie that they found her fingerprints on the keyboard. They were trying to trip her up, but she said she didn't even like react. She was just like, I don't know how they would get there. Maybe someone's framing me.
Yeah.
And so they didn't get anything of what they should have gotten. And it's true whenever she's like, you have nothing. You have, witnesses. They lie all the time, and they have zero proof other than the lady being like, "Oh, I saw this woman wearing the gold dress." How many other people saw the woman in the gold dress? Like she could just be standing out in her mind. Obviously, we know that she did it, but that's why I mean, like they have nothing to go off of when it comes to her.
Yeah, and she admits it to Eric, like we said.
And that was awful. Her attitude when he showed up at the house, and then to like sit there and tell him that she did it. So what? What are you gonna do about it?
I have my reasons.
Yeah, I have my reasons. I was like, you always. The past couple episodes, she has said how much that Kate meant to her, and how she was the only one in the entire family that treated her like a human being, and. Then just to kind of give Eric, I know that they have their like rocky relationship, but just to give Eric those like stone cold cutthroat kind of like, I don't need to tell you anything.
Yeah.
It was really sad. It made me mad.
Well, you can just tell she's so tired of it at this point. Like, there's a very small part of me that's kind of like, you do you, girl, because everyone is now pretty like justifiably. Everyone's so mean to her and just doesn't even care about her. So at this point, I mean, she should have said something because it's not like he's just asking it to know. It has to do with his wife being murdered. But at the same time, it's like, you don't do anything for me. You don't help me. You only think negatively of me. I had my reasons. Just know I didn't kill your wife. Bye.
Yeah. But she might not. She might see that. Yeah. This is going into predictions. We will get there later. But yeah.
Well, I mean, part of it is, which we saw last week, her saying, if you mess with Patrick in any way, like, I will come after you.
Yeah.
I don't care about anything else. And so this is where, she and Patrick are getting threatened in some way, or their business ventures and all that. So yeah, she's turning nasty.
Also, Neal was at her house, and they didn't even, or she just said, he's here to see Patrick, which obviously we knew that's not true. But
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about the big news that we found out this week, which I almost can't believe that was happening.
I know, me too. I was like, no way. Yes.
Yes, I was
right.
like, wow, they were so right. And not that I didn't, I even said, I don't think it's a sex ring. Which is not really a sex ring. It's a whorehouse.
which is kind of always more so what I was thinking. Like that, but I just never thought to say brothel for some reason.
But what's the difference between a sex ring and a brothel?
Well, a sex ring is almost like
I was thinking more
A sex ring is typically like, I don't even know what I meant.
Like they were involved in some.
Oh, I gotcha.
It's like
big
swingers and brothel.
But
That's
you know
kinda what?
what? We don't know that they're not directly
don't.
involved. We don't know that Melanie isn't doing the same thing and putting herself out there making money. You know?
Well, she probably is.
She's
for sure.
probably
I don't think Patrick is.
she's
but-
like, she seems like she's gonna be
madam.
they have a word for
Like the
brothel
den
women.
mother or
Yeah,
something.
like the madam. I think she's the madam.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so this whole thing. So in the beginning, Amanda and Eric are talking about this $12 million fund that Patrick has, he's
Taken against
defrauded the
company.
company.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, they're involved in something, but I don't know what yet. Talk to Patrick sort of thing. And
Yeah.
we have this flashback, which I'm conflicted over this because we see Patrick, he's very excited about an investment opportunity. Some properties he's going to get that are like a sure thing. And, you know him saying that. You're like, oh, poor little baby. This is going to blow up in your face real fast.
Yeah.
And he's talking to John. John's like, no, I'm not investing in that. We don't do that. That's not what our company does. And you can see how heartbroken Patrick was over this. He's finally... Because he's like
He's the
the
baby.
mess up.
Yeah.
And he's the baby, and he's kind of the f up of the family, and so
Yeah.
he's wanting to kind of
Prove himself.
and do something on his own, and like step out of Eric and Amanda's shadows. And Dad says no,
Yeah.
and so he does it anyway. The whole thing goes bust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kate finds out about it. So that was the statement that was in the drawer, locked up in the drawer. She had it, and she's like, all right, I'm gonna keep this a secret. It's only between you and me. I want to help you dig your way out of this. And I like how she got very she was very clear with him about like this. I'm not doing this for you because you're my
Yeah.
brother-in-law. I'm doing this because it would break
It'll
Eric's
kill
heart.
Eric. Yeah.
But though in that scene too, yes, she, as the compliance officer, she's like the watchdog of everybody at the company. So no one's gonna like her in that professional role
Right.
anyway,
Yeah.
generally speaking. But then she did seem like very, I guess you would kind of scold Patrick for doing this. Obviously, he did a big no-no, but just seeing the way that she was talking to him,
She was like talking down to him.
Yeah.
talking down to
Like,
him
had
so
that tone.
much.
Well, that's what I wanted to be like. Of course, he did a very, very, very bad thing. We're
Yeah.
not saying that he didn't, but I'm like, he's more of an owner in this place than you are, honey.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
you're doing him a favor by not telling anyone, sure, but like, back up just a little
Yeah,
bit.
Remember,
she seemed
this
very
is-
preachy.
Yeah, she did.
Like holier than thou
Yes.
ish.
Yeah. And considering her past, we know like all the stuff that she kind of went through and all the mistakes she made and how she was given second chances. I'm surprised in that scene she wasn't a little more, I guess, nurturing, like wanting to help out of the
Yeah.
goodness of her
Yeah.
heart because she cares about him. It was definitely like, hey, this is the deal.
Because we saw how easy she was to what's his name, Liam.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fake
yeah.
Liam.
And it's like, just let him explain a little more. Like, ask a few more questions. She knows that he's not the type of person to just steal $12 million. Like, that's,
Yeah.
everyone already knows that. She knows that if he did it, like, he has to be in some kind of crap.
Right.
So it's like, just let him explain a little more and then say, wow, that was, like,
Yeah.
really screwed up. But, like, we'll fix this, whatever. Or if not, if she's not going to do that, then go tell Eric. And,
Yeah,
and
let them handle it.
Exactly. I agree with that.
just a little more salt for the motive, though.
Exactly. and yeah, so Patrick ends up renting the houses out to a friend and to kind of, start making some of that money back.
Yeah.
And then in
So
his
did he buy all the houses?
Yeah,
or
I got
just a
confused.
set of them? I think he bought a set of
a set, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they
I don't think
didn't
all of them.
Yeah, and then they couldn't make the
Right.
money, so that's
Yeah.
why he had to rent it out.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
knew that there was obviously multiple. $12 million is a lot,
Well,
but I
'cause-
don't know if he bought the whole development. I
don't-
wasn't under that
I think he
impression.
bought a couple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because 12 million is not
gonna get you a development.
But they're
house.
also on a golf course, and I'm sure they're like a few $1,000,000 a piece. So
Right,
probably
right.
a few-ish.
couple. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I would think too. He bought a couple of them. The realtor who was selling them talked them up as if this was gonna be the next big thing, investment property wise. It was all baloney. So
Yeah, that
they
was
didn't.
super.
They were
That
just
was
artificially inflated.
very
the cost.
scandalous.
Yeah.
I know.
It was very sad.
Well, that's his dad made such a good point whenever he was talking to him, though. He's like, is this confirmed? And, you know, there occasionally you do get insider information about things like that before it's announced, but, like, you would still see it somewhere in writing that this was going to happen. That's, like...
Yeah.
That's why when he's like, no, but he's a good source, and it's like, oh no.
Yeah, we're not
honey,
going to
like,
invest $12 million on a good source. you know?
Exactly.
Right, on
Like,
a hunch.
something has to be-
Start seeing the numbers a little bit first.
Yeah.
So they rent it out, and, you know, we know what happened with that.
Yes.
It turned into a brothel. And so Danny and Eric go to check this out.
Yeah.
Because
Of course,
Danny's like,
Danny.
oh, okay, well, Carly's going to be there, and then I'm
Right.
going to find my daughter there. And they, like, Danny just, like, is so ridiculous.
He's just like popping caps.
He's like
everywhere.
going nuts on people. It's funny because my boyfriend he doesn't watch the show with me, but he'll like be around. But
Yeah.
during that action scene, he's like, whoa, what is this? I'm like, it's the same thing that I watch at the same time, the same day, every week.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
But Danny was kind of, I mean, Danny's badass.
pretty
we
badass,
Know.
yeah.
Yeah, we've known that. But he took all these people down. Everybody was all scared of him.
Flipped the guy over the
Flipped
table.
that, and that guy was big, too.
Yeah.
Double his size.
he was badass.
Yeah. And then when he just took the gun and fired because nobody was really like listening or answering his question about Carly, it's like, wow, you have balls. I mean, that's scary. But
But
Yeah.
gotta get it
Exactly. No Carly.
done. No.
And I do like, he's so right about Patrick. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry, he told you that he had no idea what was going on, and your best friend took a hooker or a prostitute
Yeah.
who lives at this house to the Christmas party, and you think that your brother's not involved in any way.
Right.
It's like, oh,
Well, that's-
bless your little heart.
An important thing for us to note is that whenever it's like at this point, just tell him the whole truth, Patrick. Just like, what's the point? Or even if you killed Kate, tell him the truth about this part right now. Anyway, so it's like, what was the use of him being like, my friend runs it? No, your friend doesn't run it. Your wife runs it.
Unless he doesn't know that his wife runs it, but that would kind of be stupid. Maybe he does honestly think that it's his friend that's doing it, or he knows that it's Melanie and he just wants to protect her.
But now, going back to that conversation when Melanie and Patrick, I think they're just with Eric, and they're talking about how they don't tell each other everything. She's like, I think it's important to keep some secrets.
At the
Yeah.
dinner
You know?
table when
Yeah.
Kate
Okay.
was,
So
That's
who
true.
knows what that is referring to, if
True.
that's a huge secret.
Yeah.
And it's
I
almost
just don't
like,
think so.
does anybody else in the family know? Because Amanda did act weird when she was talking to Eric. Like, I thought that she was surprised that it was $12 million, but then when she kind of just shoot it off, like, you need to talk to them about it or talk to him about it, it kind of made me wonder, like, what does Amanda, like, if my brother borrowed $12 million from my family's business or my family, for instance, I would be very concerned.
Yeah.
And I would be like, we need to call him right now. Like,
Yeah.
what is he doing?
Exactly.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. I just
did-
kind of thought she was like,
She's like,
Oh, okay.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the dad too. There's something about John that rubs me the wrong way. Like I think that he is a nurturing soul, but I think that he is aware of something that's going on.
yeah. I don't know if he would be aware of the brothel, but I mean, he's
Yeah.
not. There are zero completely innocent characters on this
No,
show.
yeah.
Like, so everybody has their hand in some sort of pool, whether it's the sex pool or not.
Seriously.
A lot of people in that sex pool though.
Yes, very true. But the thing is, obviously Neal, well, he's a client, so of course he knows that Melanie is involved. But this, trying not to get us too off topic, but we find out for sure, obviously tonight, that Neal was with Amanda. When did we? He just like admitted, or he just said that. And Eric was like, "You were with my sister." I still thought they were talking about Melanie. Was there a moment that I missed? 'Cause we did not know that.
I watched the episode twice, and I noticed that too, where he's talking about Melanie. Eric's talking to him
That's
about
who
that.
we
Right.
thought that Neal was
And then
with.
he goes like, "Oh, what is like? Why?" He didn't even ask like, "Why are you talking about my sister?" It switched to Amanda, and there was no like big, "My sister,"
Right.
you know.
Yeah, there was no
I didn't feel like there was
reaction,
a big revelation.
Well,
there.
no, but it seemed like he knew. He was like, "When were you going to tell me about my sister?" And I
Yeah.
still thought he was referring to Melanie. You know, some people say sister other than
well,
or versus sister-in-law.
You know why I think that Eric assumed in the end when he started talking to Neal that it was Amanda, because right before that we see Eric walk into the office and he had just got done talking to Amanda, and remember he was like, Amanda was like, what about Neal and Melanie? Like, what about them? Kind of a thing. And then it jumps to the next scene where you see Amanda in the room with Neal and she's yelling at him. And I think then it might have clicked with Eric. Like,
he just
wait
put
a
two and two
second.
together.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right. I agree with that for sure. But I was watching too, and I was like, that he seems very less mad about the fact that his friend's sleeping with his sister than I thought.
Well, I kept thinking, I was like, did I miss a scene? Like, is my Hulu messing up? Like,
exactly.
what in the world?
No, I noticed that too. So that whole deal. So apparently Neal's been in love with Amanda for ages.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like want them to.
I do too. Because he seems like genuine, that he really loves her.
Yeah.
That's the first time that we've seen his face go from like this to like this. And I don't know, it was just sweet.
It is so
Even
funny.
though, you know, he like hires prostitutes. And stuff.
Yeah.
It's so funny right now to even talk about Neal in like a happy light, and we're all like, oh, he's so cute. They should get together, because we have just like gone hard at this guy this whole season. We were like, he's a snake. He's gross. He definitely had something to do with the murder. And now we're like, oh.
Because he like took a turn. He took that like, you know, literally like he always had a scowl on his face, and now he was just like, because I've loved her for so long.
Yeah.
And you can like tell that he's probably been through all of these things, all these relationships, because, you know, Amanda didn't love him back or doesn't love him back still. But they did hook up that one time. Ooh, she could be sweating because she might be pregnant. I don't know. That's
she had all
off,
the medicine.
But yeah, true.
Oh, yeah.
But who knows? Maybe
all that
It's work.
IVF was working.
Yeah. But I'm happy that Neal is going to be back at SCG, though.
Yes.
Thanks to Dad.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't care what you have going on. He's coming back.
Yeah.
And I almost wonder, obviously we know that Neal knows Melanie was a part of it because he goes to their house. So he knows like what's happening. I don't know how involved he is. Like, nobody does, obviously.
Yeah.
I feel like he might just be on the like client level.
Yeah.
You know?
I have that same kind of feeling, but he knew enough to know that Melanie was running it.
Right.
Because he's the one that spilled the beans at the end.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't really think he has anything to do with Kate's death.
It just seems to be like too far off for that. I mean, even though Kate confronted him, like, I don't see him doing that to her.
Yeah.
Not in like that's not enough or big enough of a moment of passion to murder someone. But I do, it takes me back to like if Patrick knows that it's Melanie or not, because, you know, in a sense, I keep going back to that office scene where it was Patrick and Eric and Neal, and they were like fighting over something. Obviously, Neal knows to an extent that Melanie, or not to an extent, he knows that Melanie is involved or is in charge. So I'm like, would he not have told Pat? Is that not a conversation that they would have had? I don't know.
Him and Patrick?
Yeah.
Neal and Patrick? I think Neal's, I don't know.
I mean, I feel like that.
I think Patrick knows.
I think Patrick
Yeah,
knows.
I think Patrick
I
for
do
sure
too,
knows.
ultimately.
Yeah, if Neal knows, Patrick knows, because she's not hiding it that well then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True that.
And that's why I'm not doubting the housing development and the $12 million, because we actually did see a house. But part of me during this episode was wondering if that is all a lie, like to cover up the fact that they needed the money for the brothel or something.
What do you mean, the housing development?
Like if that was all a cover story to get the money to start a brothel.
Yeah.
Really.
Oh,
I don't think so,
so.
because I think in that flashback you see he's like such an excited little kid, and he's like, Dad, like, I'm gonna, look at this great idea I have, and then Dad shoots it down, and I think he did get in over his head, and then his friend probably was like, hey, I have a great idea, or not even his friend,
He doesn't seem like the type of guy that would do it just to do it. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be some
Melanie,
kind of person.
I'm guessing Melanie was probably like, hey, baby, here's how we can turn this around and like make our money back real quick.
Yeah. Now it makes sense, that scene that bugged me for so long where we see him drive up to houses or country club or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's it?
Yep,
That's the housing
exactly.
development
Yeah.
that he had the problem with.
Yeah, so Okay, so that was huge news and very exciting. I was like, oh my gosh,
I know.
they're right.
I like jumped on Twitter right away and I tweeted you guys. I was like, oh my God, she runs a brothel. We were right. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. So moving on to, I think, our kind of last bit of the family here. So Dad having cancer.
Yeah.
Maybe. So Eric finds the phone, a random flip phone in his desk.
Yes.
Opens it up. It's a call from a cancer center. He leaves it at that. And he and Amanda confront their dad, and he's like, oh, you guys, like, no, I found the phone in the bathroom.
That's such a lame excuse.
Yeah, I asked May to look into it for me. And that seems like BS for one.
Well, he also should have then went to May if he was smart and been like, hey, if anybody asks you about this phone, say that I said this.
But what head of a company would hold on to a random phone that they found in the employee bathroom? You usually have like a lost and found, or you give it to like your receptionist.
May would have held on to it, for sure.
Exactly. So do we think he has cancer?
I don't know if it's him per se, or if I thought at first it was the mom.
That's what I feel like.
Yeah.
Like that it's the mom, and she, like, maybe that's where because he's been gone for a week.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what happened. Like he had to move her to kind of a hospice situation. Because, she's been a drinker for that long. She could have, like, liver problem, all sorts of, like, cirrhosis and
But why
stuff.
would he want to hide that? Or
don't know.
it's like, why? Maybe he doesn't want the kids to know right now because they're going through so much. But also, it's not like
They're close.
It's not like they love her. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
they don't not love her, but it's not like it's going to cause them a whole lot more pain if they know that this mom, who is already in this situation, has cancer.
Or maybe they would have fought him going to spend like a whole week with her or something. I don't know.
Especially at the time when Eric was like, you left us at this crazy time.
Right.
I'm sure he would have been pissed. Like, no, don't
Yeah.
go take care of her. But it just seems, it's like, why could they not just call your cell phone still at the same time? And it also seems easy to just call the place and say, hey,
Right.
is this person there?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
yeah.
he's-
Do some more
yeah.
investigating than.
All they'll ask
I
is, do you
found
have a
this
date of
phone.
birth?
Clearly, this is what it means.
Right.
Well, he's definitely hiding something. I don't know exactly what is going on with the cancer thing, but even when Cornell met up with him and was like, I'm going to need those clothes. And, oh, by the way, where have you been the past week?
Yeah.
And didn't she say, like, oh, because you weren't there?
He just said, I've been away on business.
Yeah.
That's it.
For some reason, I feel like there was some part later on in the show where Cornell made a mention about how she asked the dad because the dad wasn't where he was supposed to be. Did I just
Yeah.
make that up?
No, she definitely said, she's like, why weren't you here all last week? But because everyone was, it was weird for him to not be there all week.
Yeah. Oh my God, there's so many floaties in here.
In her drink.
I'm still gonna drink it though because I'm thirsty.
All right, go for it.
I almost forgot about all the Cornell stuff until you just said her
yeah.
name.
So let's talk about Cornell.
I know
a bit.
my mind didn't go there either, but yes, we should.
As far as the investigation, there's only like a tidbit there. So we know that they have a partial fingerprint on this like planter.
Yeah.
And she's pissed because it's just a partial. They can't really get a good ID off of it. But then we go to our like plant CSI man,
Yes.
who is French Stewart from Third Rock from the Sun.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I was like,
Yeah, I was like, wait, is that? I watched it like at 5 a.m. this morning and was not totally sure. But the dirt from the planter has blood in it, and it's not Kate's blood, so that means there was a struggle, and it was likely the killer.
So who do they have DNA samples of? I assume Eric at this
Probably.
point.
probably.
Not all of the other principal key witnesses? Or key suspects, I'm sorry.
That
It
would
seems
make
like they
it
would.
too easy.
Yeah, but that's why I was like, shouldn't you have DNA samples from
But
all
I
of
don't
these people?
think you would have to, unless they're a suspect, I don't think you can get it.
Oh.
And they can't rule out anyone, but they can also not they don't have enough evidence to name suspects other than Eric was one. We know that.
Well, it seems like just in a typical police interview that if it was someone was like closely connected or at the party at that
you'd
scene,
get it
that
to
you'd be
rule
like,
them
hey,
out.
can we have this?
Yeah.
And that everyone would have just automatically said yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they didn't do that, but that just seems like Detective 101.
Exactly.
hire
Where's
me.
the mystery in that?
I agree
true.
with that. That they'd want to like be clear.
Yeah.
you
But
know.
maybe now that's what they'll do. But that's too easy of a way for them to find it out at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now
people have got to be resistant to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they will be now for sure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
True.
All right, so that's kind of our investigation bit. And then we've got her whole family stuff going on. My goodness. So we know she's got a difficult relationship with her daughter, the
Yes.
former drug addict who was also in prison, that Cornell sent to prison because she is like, I didn't want you to die, basically. So I arrested your ass and threw
Yeah.
you in jail. And so daughter gets high, has a little relapse, maybe not a huge relapse situation, and Cornell's
Passed out in the
partner.
car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And got picked up by the police and still passed out in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cornell and her partner. Like, I liked that moment.
Yeah,
between
that
them.
was
like the
cool.
partner covers for her and doesn't put it on the record or anything because Cornell's like, shit, she's gonna go back to jail, like all this stuff, and so he covered for her. So that's
Yeah.
that's cool. And Cornell brings her home, and then later she's nowhere to be found, and Cornell and Ethan are like.
Freaking out.
Yeah.
Freaking out for like a full day over this. Can't find Jennifer, right? Yeah, Jennifer. And turns out that she checked herself into rehab.
Yeah.
And like this is such like a big moment in the family. They're like, it's okay, you messed up, you hit a little speed bump, but you did the right thing by checking yourself in.
Yeah.
And it's this big, like very dramatic, situation, great family reconciliation going on. I loved seeing that side of Cornell.
Me too.
Yeah.
She
was, like,
letting her
sweet.
guard down a little
She was
bit.
super
Yes.
sweet.
And I was really happy that she waited. Like, he was begging her ex-husband. He's like, please
not
just
to
wait.
call.
Please just wait. Don't call. But then it's like I get it from both points because I don't think she was necessarily wanting to call because she was thinking she should go back to jail, but she's like, she's missing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
What could have happened to her, And
She
at that
was-
point, how long do you wait to see if she's going to call? But then thankfully, she called just the nick of time.
Well, and especially as like, I mean, I'm not a mother, thank God. But I mean, as like a mom, you could only imagine your child goes missing and you have every resource out there, like a whole team that you could just call and people would drop of a hat and go
Yeah.
find her, and they have resources as cops that us as other people don't have. But like, yeah, the alternative is that she has to go back to jail.
Exactly,
And-
because as soon as she would have put something out there, everyone knew that she wouldn't be, or she wasn't where she was supposed to be, she would have automatically gone back
Yeah.
to jail.
Exactly.
So, I mean, and of course, right after they have the conversation, wait 10 more minutes, please wait 10 more minutes,
Yeah.
then the phone rings.
Right.
Yeah.
But-
So seems like she's on a good path now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Old Jennifer.
Yeah, and I liked the way that her interaction with Jennifer when in rehab was, because you could see that they both do actually care about each other, and they're both, it looked like they're open to like reconciling with each
Yeah.
other and having some sort of relationship. Because that was a sad moment when Jennifer was like, I thought you called, like you put me in jail because you didn't care about me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, no, I put you there because I don't want you to die.
Yeah,
Like
she's
what you
like, I'd
said.
rather you
hate
be, you hate
Yeah.
me than you not be here anymore.
Yeah.
It's like they finally got that understanding of one another that they've needed for so long, which, I mean, I've said this before, but if my mom put me in jail, I'd probably be pretty pissed for a long time too, no matter what the reasoning is. But eventually, you get older, you learn,
Yeah.
and that's where they're at now. So I'm happy they are.
But wouldn't you think Dad would maybe like keep his prescription, because he's a psychiatrist, so
Yeah.
he's got
Yeah.
drug samples and stuff. And the last time this happened, daughter stole his prescription pad and was
Right.
writing prescriptions
Yeah.
for herself. This time, she stole his samples out of his desk. Wouldn't you think that after like the first big one, he'd
You'd
maybe
learn?
like have a more secure
Yeah.
storage
Or it just
place?
seems like you should only have, I work for a doctor and I know like your narcotics, you have to have locked up. So it seems
Yeah.
like, wouldn't you only have that key on your keychain, like not to where
Yeah.
other people could
Yeah.
just get to it?
And how many sample? Like, I guess they're like single serving, whatever it is.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there were a
Dang.
lot, but
But yeah.
yeah.
And
I
you
don't
could tell when she was telling him, I want to take you out to dinner or lunch. And he was so excited for her to
I
like
thought she was
have that.
being genuine.
I know, to
Yeah.
have like that moment with his daughter where she just got a job and it's through her AA sponsor, and he seems so proud. And he's like, let me go wash up, honey. I'll be right back. And then to come find.
It could have been,
sad.
and then
Yeah.
like the opportunity was presented and she kind of like fell victim to the addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
know,
It was
right?
like, I kind of felt like she had planned that though, because when he walks out, they like show
Premeditated.
her. Yeah, and she's
Yeah.
like that weird, like, I'm about to go steal stuff and leave, you know?
I wonder if they still went to lunch. You
just had it
you
stashed
gotta,
in her purse.
Do the plan all the way
Yeah.
through.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder what they had.
Chicken sandwich.
So that's kind of our situation there. I feel like we've covered everything
I think so.
in this episode. The huge thing was that brothel and
Yeah.
Melanie and Patrick pretty much being involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way Patrick does not know.
Yeah.
There's no way.
And it's going to get nasty, because, I mean,
So
Should we do predictions?
yeah, let's
Yeah.
talk about some predictions. Woo.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
Okay, so we've got 2 weeks, you guys. The show is not here next weekend for Thanksgiving, but so next week's episode, The Racket, and we hear Cornell or somebody, Amanda, someone says something about throwing somebody under the bus. Patrick gets arrested. It seems like Cornell is telling Patrick that she's going to convict him of murder, but it's a voiceover and just seeing him on the screen, so who knows if that's actually who she's talking to.
Yeah.
There's a lot happening, and there's some like very devious glares from Patrick, like. Goodness.
I
Yeah.
think that if I remember correctly, it was Amanda's voice who's talking to Eric, and she's like, "You threw our brother under the bus. You threw him in jail, or to save your own self, or something."
Yes.
So I don't know what that means, because I mean, the only thing that I can think of was why he would save himself was the whole money
Yeah, because of the
situation with the
business.
company.
Well, when he met with that lawyer,
Right.
he said,
That's-
you and your dad and any, like, major management could be facing some hardcore jail time.
Yeah.
If
Yes.
this comes out. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
that's scary.
But I'm definitely on Patrick being the killer now. Because he just seems like he has that thing in him where he could just snap.
Yeah.
Like a loose
And
cannon.
where he thinks everything is about to fall apart. I'm going to lose. Like, the business is going to be gone because of me if this is found out. And I'm going to lose my brother and my dad and my sister and everyone. And just, like, don't tell
I think
them.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you
I
on
think
that.
so too. I think. Go for it. Sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say Melanie. So Misha is saying all in the chat at this point, all arrows are pointing at Melanie as the prime suspect for me. After the encounter with the captain, it was clear that many of her girls know the cops in the squad personally, and I think they're wanting us to think she's just so evil, you know.
Yeah.
But I think that Patrick is probably the one.
I think she's covering up for Patrick. Because
Either-
I think she's like, she knows what he's like.
Either that, or I can honestly see Patrick covering up for Melanie.
Yeah.
Because he seems to love her so much, and it's almost like some of the past scenes that I've seen. It's almost like he looks at her on a pedestal, and that because he doesn't think he's good enough in a lot of things in life for his family, maybe for his wife. Maybe she went psycho and she did something, and now he's like so desperate to like save her from like getting in trouble. I don't know.
From, like, proving everyone right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good.
yeah.
I'm telling you, they are the Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
Very
All right,
true.
so I think we're in consensus that probably Patrick, maybe Melanie.
Yes. Where I'm at.
And this could just totally
blow up in our faces.
It could be like Carly and, you know,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It could be
'cause
something
we've got
random.
3 episodes left, you guys. So there's a lot of twists that can continue.
Or
to
this could be
take.
like all a dream and like Eric's perspective, and then we
no.
see it from somebody else's, and he's like
Right.
psycho, and he did it. Like, who knows
Yeah.
what's gonna happen?
Oh boy.
Still have a
Well,
couple weeks.
It's going to be good. Yeah, so you guys, next week we are not here, but the week after we will be. So taking a break for Thanksgiving, but after Thanksgiving we will be right back here. And I think that does it for this
Yeah.
week. That was a very exciting episode. Thank you guys in the chat for tuning in here with us. Once again, make sure you guys are subscribed to us on YouTube, youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. You guys can find me in the meantime everywhere online at Lauren Salaun. And how about y'all?
Y'all can find me everywhere at April Whisenhant.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at WitGetItWit.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.